We're going to use this video to learn a little bit more about watersheds. What do they look like? How does water move in them? Who benefits from a healthy watershed? Watersheds come in all shapes and sizes, but they share a lot of similarities. These ones are from Arizona, and they show how water is going to end up in the Pacific. This watershed is enormous. It's actually the largest on Earth. It's the Amazon watershed. The United States is divided up into watersheds too. In fact, if you imagine it like a puzzle, it'll give you a good idea of what it's like. Every square inch of the United States, along with the world, is part of a watershed. Here are the major watersheds in the United States. The edge of every watershed touches the edge of every other watershed. Homes, farms, forests, deserts, small towns, big cities, all in watersheds. Every single one of them. And they're all draining towards one central body of water. It could be a river or a lake. Let's use a model of the San Francisco watershed to get a better idea. You can see that in the middle of what looks a little bit like a bathtub, there are differing classes of stream that flow down into a river. The dotted line is called a drainage divide, and it's on the ridge that surrounds the major body of water. All of the water is going to flow by gravity downhill using topography towards that major body of water. The rim of the bathtub decides, does the water go right or does the water go left? When it rains, if the rain falls directly on top of the drainage divide, the water will automatically go right or left. In the United States, if you were on the Rocky Mountains, you would flow right towards the Mississippi River. If you were at the Appalachians, you would flow left towards the Mississippi. These two are identically scaled pictures. I hope that you can see how much larger the Amazon is. The amount of rainfall and the amount of porosity of the soil determines how much water each watershed can hold. Now we're going to take a look at the Colorado watershed. The red line that's just come up is the Continental Divide Trail, and it runs along the ridges of the Rocky Mountains. This is the item that dictates whether the water is going to go west to the Pacific or ultimately east to the Atlantic. Here in the Colorado watershed, most water flows from north to south. But remember, it's always going to flow via topography. So there's going to be some bodies of water that are going to flow in other directions. That does not mean that they're flowing against the flow of gravity. They're always flowing with gravity and with topography, just not always north to south. All of the water that you see here, though, is going to end up in the Gulf of California. Watersheds are also divided up into sub-watersheds. This Colorado watershed is going to be 11 times larger than the Verde watershed. This is just one example in the United States of how watersheds come in large all the way down to very small sizes.